it's Miss Nancy, and I'm so glad that you've joined me today. I'm missing my students so much, and I hope you and your families are doing well. And I hope to see you again real soon to bring you some music and some dance lessons at your school. And I have such a fun lesson that we've been sending remotely to some of our students that I wanted to share it with all families. And I'm hoping that after you watch, you'll share it and send it to everyone that you know that has either a young child or a teenager or an adult, parents, or a senior in the home, because it's such a wonderful lesson for all of us, especially at this time. So there's only 3 steps to this lesson plan, and it starts with what's inside of me. So when we teach our children what's inside of me, especially for the little ones, we tell them that what's inside of them is beautiful and it's in their heart. And so for my little students, we just pick a couple of things that we feel are important, especially if you have a toddler, moms and dads, or at daycares. If you want to teach them about beautiful things inside of their heart, they're called virtues. And you can teach your children that virtue is something inside their heart that feels good. And that's kind of a simple little definition. But we as adults know what a virtue is. A virtue is any characteristic or attribute or anything that is deemed morally good that is inside of our hearts. We feel it inside of our hearts. For the little ones, anything that feels good is in their heart is what I would like to teach them at this stage of their life. And you can just decide, parents, happiness, forgiveness, growing, gratitude, just put whatever you like there. Trust, compassion, anything that you want to teach your little ones. You could just make a little heart like this and say, what's inside of me? And we'll be doing a little song at the end of this lesson that you can sing with the children. Now, for like kindergarten all the way up to maybe through 4th or 5th grade, you can make a bigger heart, as you can see down here. And what we do is we laminate, or you can just type it and color it, or have the children do it, and a little puppet, all the different characteristics that they feel are inside their heart, and they usually just name them. I will just take a piece of paper and say, what's inside your heart that feels good? And they'll say laughter and kindness and friendship and compassion. And then we make little puppets, which you can just take a little piece of material and add a little rubber band and do dots or sew on some little ears, and the children talk about that virtue that's inside their heart. So that's pretty fun that we do for our little ones. But especially in 2020, I'm thinking we need something for our teenagers and for families and for seniors. And so I have this wonderful view of all the beautiful things that are in everyone's heart that we want to teach our children. And they go on and on. I came up with about 100 attributes, and I just put them on a piece of paper, typed them up, and you can do that too. Anything that you believe is that you deem is morally good that's inside your heart. Or I'm gonna give you this list. You can download it and just print it right out and use this for your virtues. And that's step 1. Make a big list of everything that you feel is inside of you. And then step 2, cut little hearts. So one day I just cut about 100 hearts. It only took about 5. I can fit about 15 on a page, so just this is a really good size. Or you can have little hearts as well, but whatever, and you can do any colors and anything. You can have your children. It can be a fun little project at home too, where your children are decorating the hearts, and so that's all you need. So you need just an attribute that you write out and then print out, or feel free to use mine, the hearts. And then on the back, you can do whatever you like. On the back of ours, I've just put definitions. You can put any kind of special authors of things that you like. You might have Bible verses that you like. There's all kinds of beautiful things that you can put. Community leaders, anything on the back of your virtue that you feel is morally good. So then I have our children, like some of our children said helpful. So on the back I put serving others. And it's just a little definition of feeling helpful. But the cool thing about putting all of these attributes up, maybe making a heart, I would think you could put it on a wall, your living room wall or your bedroom wall, somewhere for your children or your students to see it every day so they can add and take a look at what's in their hearts. And I actually did this myself. I put it all up and then we sit for maybe 5 minutes and just look at all the beautiful things that are inside of our hearts. Because I think we forget how huge our heart can be. And sometimes when things are happening, you feel that some of those beautiful attributes and virtues that are in your heart, you can't see them and you don't know where they went. And your children might be feeling that too. So possibly if you're not feeling a lot of peace at this time, then we put it over here in the heart box, and you can create your own little heart box that's got lots of hearts inside, just to remind us that it's still in our heart, we just can't see it right now. Or if we're not feeling very hopeful, or if we're not feeling very, let's say, tolerant. So then we have definitions of these in the back. Acceptance of other people who hold different beliefs. That's what tolerance is. If we're not feeling that right now a little bit, then it's still in our heart. I believe that to be true. But we're going to put it in our safety box right here. If we're not feeling very hopeful, we can have it put in there. You can help your children be able to learn the virtues, and they can pull them off just for a little while when they're not feeling it, and then just close it up because it's still in your heart, but it's in the virtue, I call it the virtual assistance place. Instead of virtual assistance, the virtual assistance, because once it goes in there, it's still reminding ourselves and our families and our neighbors that we have it in our hearts, but it just needs a little bit of help while it's in there. And those are the things that you can talk about with your children at school or at home, and even yourself. You can take a look at, I am still a beautiful human being with lots of good in my heart, but there's a few things I'm just not feeling right now. And then try to find ways, through whatever ways that help and support your family, to get those beautiful virtues out of the virtual assistance place and put them back up. How can you help your child or yourself have more hope? What is hope? A desire something and expect it will happen. To desire something and expect it will happen. Well, maybe it's time that you started doing something to help that along a little bit, so you can put your hope back in there. And the thing that I learned when I was going through this is, even though I had maybe 5 or 6 of these over in the virtue all assistance place, I still realized that I had other beautiful virtues inside my heart, which filled me up a little bit. And also to help our little ones know that everyone, every human being, every child, every friend they have, or anyone that they know, has all of that in them. Even when they're born, they come in and they have it. And then we teach them about these things. They don't know they have all of it yet, but by the time they understand it, which is probably maybe even first grade, they might have a really good idea of all of the things that are inside their heart. And it's up to us to remind them, how can they be tolerant? How can they be accepting of other people's views? And help them with examples, and maybe they can help in some way in the community, helping our children understand that we too have everything in our hearts, but don't always feel that we can find them. So that's the lesson, and I'm hoping that we can help one another, and I'd like to eventually be able to teach children in all kinds of different languages all about these virtues. And we're going to start doing lesson plans every week on one virtue a week. We'll probably start with acceptance next week. Acceptance. What does acceptance mean? A willingness to receive one another just as we are. Are you feeling that you have acceptance in your heart? And if you're not feeling that, please remember it's still who you are, but just put it over here in your virtue all assistance part, and then work on how can you be more accepting, how can you give to others, how can you treat others the same. And that is my hope and my prayer for all of us around the world, that we will remember this is who we are, and just some of these things have been put behind a door for a time through life experiences, but it doesn't have to stay there. So I'm hoping you'll join me. Please hit the subscribe button. I'm not real familiar with social media, but I'd like all of you to send it to any of your families and friends, even if you just have this little thing that you set up in your house, and take a look at it every day. It would be so fun to have children understand the bigger picture of who they are, and every single other child, adult, and senior to be able to share. That's my prayer with all of you. Oh, let's take one more minute to just sing. And this is the song we'll sing. Some of our lesson plans will have songs. Some of them will have dances. So visit me at dancewithnance.com under What's Inside of Me, and I'll show you a little bit more on what we're going to try to do to help our world and our community. So let's sing a little song called What's Inside of Me. It's just a couple verses, and so this is how it goes. What's inside of me? Open the door so you can see. Dive deep to be what you were meant to be. Woo! Love's inside of me. And then you can just change it. You can sing, grace is inside of me. Miracles are inside of me. Truth is inside of me. Tolerance, everything is inside of you. Yay! So come visit us, please share, and eventually I'd love to be able to have our lesson plans in all the languages of all the countries. So let's make it a goal with the next 66 years of my life and of your life. I always tell my family that I'm halfway there. So let's spend the rest of our time here on planet Earth, loving one another, helping one another, smelling the beautiful flowers, beautiful, and also teaching ourselves and our families and our children. This is all inside of us. And even if it goes away for a little while or there's a door, it can be returned through your love for one another. I love you. I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.